John chapter 1. Okay, we're going to be taking a specific look at the first 18 verses here. Then I've got some notes for us to take related to those 18 verses. Actually, related to the first few. And then I have some material for you to do. Okay. In passages that relate to what we're going to talk about today and tomorrow. So about half of our time is going to be spent together going through these first 18 or so verses and some of the concepts behind it. And then the other half of our time will be dedicated to what I have you doing that will set us up for tomorrow. Does that make sense? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Good. Other people today seemed confused by that. Maybe I've just done a better job of explaining it with this group. So here's what we need. We need to read the first 18 verses in the Gospel of John. So you need to be there, and I need a volunteer. That was fast. All right, Eugene. Nice, slow, and loud.
1 through 18.
Yep.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made, and that had been made. In him was light, and that light was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that the light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and through the world
And though the world was made through him.
My bad.
No, that's okay. It's a complicated sentence.
And though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, and his own did not receive him. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. John testified concerning him. He cried out, saying, "This is the one I spoke about, when I said, 'He who comes after me has surpassed me because he was the one before me.' Out of his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace already given. For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the one and only Son, who himself is God, and is in the closest relationship with the Father, has made him known."
Good. Thank you. Okay, so first thing we need to pay attention to is this concept of the word in the first couple of verses here. And this is what we're going to key in on today, at least for our notes' sake. So take out your notes. We're going to hit a key concept and paradigm here. Take some notes on it, and then I will explain where we're headed from there. So, first thing, and right off the bat in the Gospel of John, we're not introduced to a particular character by name. We're introduced to God and this Word that was with him in the beginning. We're not given a name for the character that we're talking about until verse 17. John does not mention Jesus Christ by name until John 1, verse 17. Anytime before that, it's this word. It's an important concept, and it matters. So here's what we've got. First, the Word is God, and actually in the Greek, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the English stays with that parallel, Word and God, Word first, God second, and the Word was God. In the Greek, though, it's in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and God was the Word. Syntax is flipped, because it's linking the idea that this God that we're talking about and this word that we're talking about, same. These are the same thing, but distinct somehow. So we need to talk about that. Well, here's how we can talk about that. If we look at the Greek word for word, too many words in one sentence, okay? But the Greek version of our W-O-R-D is logos, okay? And this is the Greek. This is the Greek for word, right? What's the word for? We're talking Greek. It's logos. What's the logos for? That's what it is. On the other hand, this logos has a specific connection in philosophy and theology in the Greek world. Okay? And it works a bit like this. Every god or goddess has a divine word or logos that accompanies them when they speak, give a command, or generate, create, or do something new. Just making some semblance of sense. Okay, so attached to the work and the activity of the God that we want to talk about is this divine logos or word. So, for example, Zeus has a logos, and it works something like this. Zeus speaks, and then his logos does what he said. Okay. Puzzled expression. Is there a thought? The hamster's running, but we don't have traction yet. Fair. Let me know if it gains traction. Still with me here? Go ahead.
So is like the logo, sorry if I'm probably screwed up how you say that.
It's okay.
Are they kind of treated as like two different people in this case scenario?
Ish. They are distinct, but the logos in this scenario is dependent on the God who says it. So not independent, they are distinct, but this is only because of that. Yeah? Not quite the understanding, John chapter 1, but it's close. Yeah, and I think that's intentional here. I think John is playing on this idea, okay, and it's probably going to be further enhanced by what I say here for a second. Because the idea works like this, and Greek definitions for things are often word picture instead of like written description, because Greek's one of those visually based. Okay, so it works like this. Zeus says the words of a given sentence, right? And that becomes the logos. Now this person carries out the order, the command, the wish, the desire, the will, the thing that was said. Does that make sense? Go ahead.
I think I understand.
The person of Zeus's logos only exists in the sense that Zeus spoke it. And will only exist until Zeus's sentence is accomplished, and then it will come back to Zeus and be done. Yeah? So it's a temporary thing. It's not a permanent thing. But it relates directly to what Zeus is saying. So he says it. The words come out of his mouth. Those words become a little personified mini-me, Zeus. I'll do it this way. Say hi to Norman.
Norman.
Okay, this is Norman, the gnome.
Hi, Norman.
Okay? Norman the gnome was a gift I got on Monday.
I've seen a couple of them.
Okay, so Norman's my mini-me. Just beard, right? Okay, we're on the same page here. So anyway, if I'm in the role of Zeus here, I say it, Norman pops into existence and goes and does what I just said. And then when it's finished, comes back. Yeah? At such time, his role in existence goes away because he's no longer needed. What's been said has been accomplished. Is that making sense? Okay. That's the Greek concept. The Christian concept is a bit more nuanced than that. It's a bit more developed than that. That's the Greek concept. What Zeus says becomes a little individual, Zeus mini-me, goes out and does what Zeus said, and then it comes back to Zeus when the mission's accomplished. Yeah? Traction yet? Ish? Okay. So then, John, in writing the gospel and in setting it up this way at the start of the gospel, seems to be playing off of this idea. Otherwise, why would he choose the word logos as a way to introduce the person of Jesus Christ? Now, here's the reality. I don't think John wants us to understand this concept the way the Greeks understand this concept. Yeah? I think John wants us to understand it a bit differently, but I think what John is doing is using this as an image so that we have a better understanding of what he's actually trying to say about Jesus in the first chapter. John's gospel, Jesus especially, is going to be heavy on the fact that he only does what he sees or hears from the Father. And so part of the relationship that's implied here, will to accomplishment, I think is part of what John wants us to pick up. Right? From the will of the Father expressed to the accomplished will of the Father in the life, ministry, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. I think that's part of what we're looking at. I think that might be one of the core pieces to what we're looking at. The challenge is that it's more developed, more nuanced, okay, more thorough than the Greek idea. Are you with me? And I think John is playing on the Greek concept and at least two specific Old Testament passages to make the connection work. So here's what we are going to do. You are going to use these passages. You're going to start John 1, 1 through 18. Okay? And you're going to link John 1, 1 through 18 to Genesis 1, 1 through 5. That link is word choice, concept, idea, activity, characters, anything and everything. As detailed as you can make that link, make that link. Still with me? Then you're going to link that to Proverbs 8, 22 to 36. You're like, wait, that's an interesting jump. Hopefully it'll make sense when you get there. Chart, great. Diagram, awesome. Columns, go for it. However you need to lay it out so you can see it. Okay? So your link should look like this. Right? We need a nexus of these three passages. Concept, listen, specific word choices. I don't know. We just read John 1:1. John 1:1's first three words are? Genesis 1:1's first three words are? Do you think that's on purpose? Yes. John's doing that intentionally. John's playing on that on purpose. You need to pay attention to that. Okay? John's going to be, if you use an NIV or an NLT or something like that, it might be good for you to do this exercise in your translation and then do it again in an English Standard Version or a NASB, New American Standard Bible, or a New King James, where it's a more like word for word, because then the keywords are going to pop a little bit more distinctly, especially between the passages. Okay? So you're going to link keyword choices, patterns, characters, concepts, ideas, activity, all that. If you get through the linking, which is going to take you some time, you've got three passages to read through, pay attention to closely, etc. If you get through that, then I need word counts. Slow down. For these three words in John 1 through 18. Okay? Word counts. I could make you count every single word. No. Okay? That's just tedious and there's no point to that. Okay? John chapter 1, verses 1 through 18. How many times does John, the gospel writer, this is where the literal word for word translation is going to come in handy. How many times does he use the word light, life, or from? Okay? Question. You sure? Do the link, do the connecting, do the chart. Yeah? Big picture, nitty-gritty detail, everything in between is what I want for that connection. The more connected you make it, the better tomorrow's going to go when we get together and we start putting together the full picture. Yes? Okay. Question, concern, freak out moment? Okay. Take your time. Don't rush this. Okay? The deeper you make it today, the better it's going to go tomorrow. Yes? Uh-huh. That's why I highlighted that. Yep. Okay. You're working on that.
You heard that too?
You're done at 32 today. 23 minutes. Okay? Go. We are going to start with this tomorrow. Go. Mainly reporting on what we did and connected and learned. Go. Thanks, guys. Pick up there tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Whenever I try to
I didn't think it was
do
gonna
a
go that
bullet or a semicolon on my keyboard, it doesn't end with no day.